Hello everyone, this week I would like to do a secret video just for those of you that have been following the channel for so long. So this technique is meant to be a little bit of fun, but I'd like to introduce you to the secret and deadly art of Pretzel Jutsu. So if you don't know what Pretzel Jutsu is, right, think of a pretzel, right, all wrapped up on top of itself. That's what we're going to do, but with a human being. Now I will say that as much as this technique is from our syllabus, it's a technique that we do in green belt for defences against half Nelson. The technique is what I call a genriwaza. It's a principle technique, and what I mean by that is the entirety of this technique you probably wouldn't do in a self-defense scenario in its entirety. That isn't what it's meant for. It's a pedagogical technique. It's designed to teach a certain set of very useful skills and principles that in isolation are useful together. So it is a pedagogical technique, and that's what its purpose is. So have that in the back of your mind as we're doing this, that actually take each of the individual sections and the points that it's trying to demonstrate. You wouldn't necessarily have to do the entire technique, but this is meant to be a little bit of fun. So welcome to the art of Pretzel Jutsu. And if you like and enjoy this video, don't forget we do videos every Friday, so please feel free to subscribe by clicking the button down there. Okay, so I'll repeat. So half Nelson, just for clarification, right? There are several versions of half Nelson, but this is a full Nelson, right? Or the most simple version of a full Nelson. And a half Nelson is when you have one hand there and you have a grip on one of the arms. Right? There are other versions of a half Nelson, but this is our basic one. Okay. So if Pete does his half Nelson, I just turn so we can. So one of the important principles that this technique starts with is the idea that in one of our other techniques we go this way to escape, and always you need multiple options. Every technique, if you're looking at escapes from holds or things like that, you need multiple get out of jail free cards, so to speak. So this technique starts by exploring the gap that is here. Okay, so I'll execute the technique slowly first and then break it down. That's the basic aspect of the technique, so let's break this down a little bit more. So, what we do is we clamp the elbow here, and I'm going to shift my weight back into my opponent and start to push my bum out this direction. What I don't do is I don't go that way, so I don't do this. So one first in principle that this teaches is if you have to turn close to your opponent, you always want to put pressure on your opponent's balance. So I do that by, as I sit, I put pressure onto Pete's heels. So you might see his toes just coming off the floor because I'm pushing his weight into his heels. If I was to not do that, another way of doing that is to use this left arm and to push so that he's off balance as I turn through. So if I was just coming through and doing a strike, that's one of the first principles. So being aware of your opponent's weight. So I clamp, I press. As I come through, I grip this arm, turn and pull. So when I get to here, I want to create tension. So when I'm here, this way from my feet. So we've got to this point, we've got some tension. I just push the arm up the back. Now I'm not going to use that as a lock. What I do here is that I transition the hand and grab in kotagaeshi. Then I'm going to do the throw. So once I've got this grip here, my right foot shoots through and I trap the ankle. And for simplicity, I allow Pete the dignity to break fall, so I let him bring the arm out. So my goal now is, we just turn my feet, is when I'm here, I want to trap that arm. So I'm going to keep hold of here, I'm going to step onto that leg. I throw the leg through, keeping the grip, and pin. So I've got my wrist lock. And then I put my knee into place to pin, right? So now from here, obviously I can punch as much as I want, but to finish him off, we're just going to take hands at the back of the head and pull. Hence, Pretzel Jutsu. So, obviously the point is you've tied your opponent up. You can apply pressure to the chest as an asphyxiation, you can strike the throat, etc. and you can get away. Don't stay there for too long, use it as an opportunity to pass the legs and then strike and then move. So, one more time. So, we start, we clamp, pressure, come through. I can of course strike at any point, so I can knee. When I'm here, just turn my feet. When I'm here, I can put pressure to the leg first, then sweep, strike to the groin, add all the little strikes that I want, so I get to my same end point. So I've got the kotegaeshi with my knee, I can strike back of the head, so I come to the top, just above the back of your head. You have what's called the occiput bone. You want to come just above the occiput bone, and then just pull up, and then in, and then you can back off. So just think about the principles in that, just for a minute, just to highlight some of them. So I've already mentioned the first principle of considering your opponent's weight. The second one is gripping, not with your hands, right? So this technique is in conjunction with several other techniques where students have to start to use things like elbow pinches. So for example, they start in here, and I keep this tight as I come through without gripping, and as I come up, I keep this tight just by using the pressure of the arms. Then I can change my grip, just turn. So from here, then we're looking at a really simple leg trip, just as an isolated technique. I don't have to have the arms in this position, but I'm just going to throw this foot through as far as I can, take the ankle and use my body weight to execute the throw. Then the final principle is the idea of if I'm between my opponent's legs, one of the most simple ideas I've got is that I've got to pass the guard. So one way that I can do that and make it more difficult for him to move is as I step, is to push that arm across. So now this creates torque within the body, so there's tension, and that makes this incredibly uncomfortable for Pete. So because he's stretched, I can get my strikes, I can do whatever I want from there, and it gives me a lot of options. Now it might not be that I end up fully in this position, so it might be, for example, that Pete snatches his arm out the way first so I can't step on it. That's okay, I've still got the ability to pass behind my opponent and get to the back, right? So that's another thing. It might be, it might be that when we get to here, I've got this arm, I lose the arm, so Pete snatches that in. Again, not a big deal, because I'm still passing and getting that opportunity to enter. It might be that he just turns and completely rolls, so he's got both arms free. That gives me the opportunity to escape or to pass around the back of the neck. So the technique itself has lots of little separate principles that are linked to other techniques, but overall it's just meant to be a bit of fun. Now remember, the first rule of secret Pretzel Jutsu is don't talk about secret Pretzel Jutsu. I'm only joking, share it with as many friends as you want, but let me know your thoughts about the technique. So put your views and comments below, but do remember it is meant to be a little bit of fun, not vigorous or serious self-defense. So see you next week guys, hope you enjoyed the video.